Welcome back, everybody. My name is Grace, or Gibby, whatever you prefer, and today I am here with a complete Frostvale event guide. So all of the Frostvale seasonal events, all the past ones are now locked behind paintings, and I've taken the liberty of going through each one and collecting a list with links to each of the items, as well as recording clips of every quest so you can look through and see what the bosses are like. And as well, I'm going to give you my opinion on all the items and whether or not they're worth your time or not, and explain briefly what they do. So I'm going to organize this video so there's timestamps in the description. And at the start of each timestamp, I'm going to play the audio for going over the items for that quest. As well, I'm also going to have a written list linked in the description, which just has every item with infosubs written out. Some of them don't have infosubs, but 90% of them do. So if you're interested in reading yourself, you can just look at them there. But with that said, I hope this is useful, and I'm just going to get right into it. So the 2014 Frostvale has 3 quests. It's got the Wonderful Life of Crime quest, and you do the whole quest in Zorbag form, which is a little bit slow. So I recommend bringing a temporary Deathless Dracolich pet from the Necro Armor, because that'll help speed you up. But anyways, the rewards you get are the Solid Gold Guardian Blade, which is 0 proc melee light sword with no other effects, except it does look like the old Guardian Blade, which is cool. There's the Knight of the Fire Orb, which is a Mastercraft FD fire armor with a standard Elecomped fire spell that costs mana. So it's actually quite high damage for fire spells, but it is locked to an FD armor. But it does have like 1.6 Elecomp or so. So that's okay if you're interested. And then the Hula Hoop is just a simple Earth Dark dual element shield with another fire resist as well. Knight of the Fire Orb, only thing I'd really consider picking up from that quest. For the second quest, we have the Killing Spree ending. There's a strong fire boss, but he has no damage cap, boss boost, or freedom, so you can just cheese him or kill him normally. The rewards are the Lollipop Mace, a 0 proc magic mace that hits for random elements and does extra damage. Candy Cane Cataclysm, an ice spell that paralyzes, it's a relatively weak paralyze effect. And then the Vampoglin Lord, a Mastercraft Darkness pet that can toggle between pure damage and an SP drain mode. The SP drain mode basically heals based off damage dealt, and it's very effective. This is one of the few non-premium ways to restore SP in the pet slot, so I recommend it for that purpose. And then finally, in the gift delivery, we have the Melee Flaming Sword, the Throwing Halo, and those are the 2 weapons. And basically, those are melee and ranged weapons that inflict defense loss on a special. It's very bad, they're light weapons. The Angelic Robes is a light spellcaster lean armor that boosts all healing by 12.5%. Very strong armor. Harp is a light shield with a 6% chance to control the foe. Healing Wings is a healing spell that pays a little bit of damage to block darkness element damage by 50% for 1 turn, so it gives you an Ellie shield. The Snow Angel is a pet that is light and ice seeking, and the Angel Bells are a light mist that give about 5 MRM, 50 charisma, and the Cherub Guest is compressed in it. And the Cherub is a guest that does double damage for a 3/7% chance of giving the enemy celerity. So that's it for the Frostvale 2014. Skip to the Frostvale 2015 if you want to hear about that. So Frostvale 2015, Fruitcake Fury, and the first quest is a chilly request. There are no notable monsters, and it simply gives you the weapon, a weapon, which is the Fruitcake Sword, Spear, and Staff, and they're 10 procs that inflict a paralyze based off water resistance, and they're very bad. Don't grab these. The Fruitcake Wreath is a water shield that regenerates SP every turn, and is tripled when the monster doesn't attack. There are niche uses, but I can't think of any. And the Fruitcake Zard is a water pet that can do damage or can attempt a low chance paralyze, so about 30% chance, 35% chance. Those are the second quest, which again has no notable monsters. And in the third quest, there are actually 4 quests for this year. It's an anomaly in that sense. But there's the Fruitcake Fury spell. It's basically a water clone of Icicle, whatever I was just talking about, Candy Clean Cataclysm. But it's a water paralyzed spell, not very good. Fruitcake Brick, it's a water mist that basically pays HP to regen SP. It only happens at the end of the turn, so you have to be equipping the misc. It'll be a lot more relevant if Essence Orb is ever nerfed. It's very good for passive SP maintenance. Finally, the gift delivery. They had the Frostvale 15 Commemorative Spoon, which is a simple magic ice wand, and the Fruitcake Berserker Armor, which deals a little bit more damage on attacks if the foe didn't axe last round. Very bad, very outdated. So that's it for Frostvale 2015. Not much to grab here except maybe Fruitcake Brick or Fruitcake Zard, if you have interest in those. Weapons are ass. Sleep, as of now, is ass. So these weapons are kind of ass. And it's also pretty RNG dependent. Cozy Goblin is a fire pet that can do normal damage or inflict a 1-turn minus 128 times fire resistance unlucky. So if you want to use this for status infliction, could be useful. And finally, the gift delivery, we have the Frostvale 2016 Commemorative Spoon, which is a darkness wand, a simple darkness wand, and the Sweater Dragon Mount, which is a fire armor that you can be fully offensive with extra bonus to hit, or fully defensive with slight damage reduction. Nothing much to see. The only thing I'd really go for here is the Farzad Mogloo, the Fire Orb, or the Cozy Goblin. Everything else is pretty mid. light elevuln. Nothing too special, but you could use them for a niche purpose, potentially. The Chaser Bracer is the real draw from this second quest. It's a light shield, and whenever the monster misses its last attack, it applies a minus 28.5 blind if you block all attacks. So it has uses for dodge builds. It's very good in that sense for pure defense. The final quest, the Gift Delivery. There are 2 weak boss monsters, but you should be just fine. They don't have boss boost or freedom or damage caps. Moonchaser Rider is one reward, and it's a light armor with an MC to deal slightly more damage if the monster has a lot of statuses on it. Very bad, but it does compress Earth, Light, and Energy at 45% resists at 150, so that's a use. It's like Shinyaro form in that way. The 2 draws of this quest, though, are the Ornament Golem Assault, which is a light spell that spends a little bit over half its damage to inflict a 4-turn choke. That's based off light resistance. So against dark monsters or against general neutral monsters, it's a very strong choke. I would recommend it for that purpose. It's mana cost only, though, unfortunately. And finally, the Cracked Ornament that gives 10 status potency for everything. It costs way too much SP compared to the new status potency changes, but it's still useful to have if you don't want to spend tokens on Optico. Okay, so that's pretty much it for Frostvale 2017. Next will be 2018. Frostvale 2018 is called a Nightmarish Frostvale Carol. And the first quest is A Nightmare Before Frostvale, and there weren't any super significant monsters. The two rewards were the Oak Cratchit, which is an ice pet with a 1.5 times Lucky Strike rate, which is quite potentially better than it used to be because of Optico and other boosting effects. And there's also the Frigid Zorback doll, which is an offensive ice misc that increases charisma and luck and ice damage. It also compresses an ice spell, a mana ice spell that you can use by clicking on it, so it's good for mages for compression. The second quest is Frostvale Sham, and the notable monster in this quest is the Bank of Nightmares, which is a 13k HP mob with a strong ice special attack. It doesn't have boss boost or damage cap or freedom, so you can cheese it, but do be careful of the ice attack and the huge HP pool. The only reward is Sham's Offhand Blunderbuss, which is a ice shield that deals an attack of your weapon element if you Lucky Strike. And it's quite strong for a shield, so it's very cool. Finally, the third quest, the gift delivery, you have the Frostvale 2018 Spoon, which is a ice wand, and it has a true special. And the Leprechaun, the Festive Leprechaun armor, which is a ice fully offensive armor with 1.5 times Lucky Strike rate for both attacks and spells. And the Deploy Tree spell, which is an ice spell with 1.5 times Lucky Strike rate. And do keep in mind that all three of those do not have infosubs, but they're still explained on the document that I have linked. Okay, so that's it for 2018. Next, we'll move on to 2019. Frostvale 2019 is a song of ice and thunder, and the first quest is the Ballad of the Chosen. The notable monsters aren't really monsters, but there is a quiz, and the answers are simply Never, Vandar, and Gulgan Dar. And if you can't remember that, again, just check the Google Doc in the description, and that'll have the answers. Oh, hey, kitty cat. Well, she is now in the recording, so that's fun. Back to AQ, though. The reward for that first quest, the Ballad of the Chosen, is the Balgir's Omen, which is an offensive energy misc that increases energy damage and charges a slight SP cost to inflict a 4-turn burn. The Mastercraft bonus reduces the damage taken by 7% when the foe is burned. The second quest is a Test of Thunder, and there's a boss with boss boost but no damage cap or freedom, and its highest resist is 70% to water. And the reward does not change based on what decision you make on the map, although it says it does. At least with my testing, the reward doesn't change. So the rewards are Vidir's Judgment, which is an auto-hit energy spell that pays some HP to make sure it auto-hits, and it does extra damage if the foe is burned. There's also the Thunderlord's Ravens, which are an energy pet that does pure damage or can toggle to a burn mode, which is extra strong because it takes a little bit of HP to do more damage. So it's quite strong for burning. They have the energy element. Finally, the last quest is the Gift Delivery, and there's the Lord of Thunder and the Thunderlord's Crest. The Lord of Thunder is a fully defensive energy armor. It has an energy spell type skill that burns. And the Thunderlord's Crest is an energy shield that heals SP when the monster is burned. Both of these are okay. I would say the real draws are Vidir's Judgment and maybe Thunderlord's Ravens, if you're interested in those. But that's it for Frostvale 2019. Frostvale 2022 Horror and Terror. So the first quest is Welcome Home, and there's Horror slash True Horror Nightbane as a boss. The normal horror is just a strong, dark boss with freedom. The True Horror is a super challenging boss with low damage cap, hard damage cap, and avoid attack. You'll want to be prepared if you're going in to fight him. The normal one, though, you'll be just fine with a dark armor and whatnot. The reward for that quest is Unbound Revelation, which is a fire misc that can toggle between boosting strength int and end, or charisma, dex, and end. So tank hybrids or tank beastmasters. Good for you. The second quest, All Alone, has a boss with a hard damage cap at the end, so bring a multi-hit effect and maybe bring some healing in case you get low on resources. The two rewards are Unraveling Nightmare, and that's a fire spell that takes a turn to charge, but because it pays a turn and so much other little extra little costs, it deals plus 141% damage. So it's a big nuke. Secondly, there's a Scathing Dreamseer pet, which is a fire pet that can toggle to heal SP or MP if you're below 50% SP or MP. So sort of like the old Vampragoons. It's okay. The heal is not based off the attack damage, but it is based off pet damage. So if you boost pet damage, the heal will be stronger. It's okay, but it's situational. And the gift delivery, there are two bosses with freedom and damage caps, but they're not super complicated. They'll just, attack and use their abilities. Scathing Dreamweaver is a fully defensive fire armor that can toggle into spellcaster lean with some quirks and drawbacks. It basically locks you out of item slots to pay for the spellcaster lean, but it's weird, so I don't want to get into it in case it's changed. But overall, it's a very strong spellcaster armor, and read the info sub for more information. That's what I recommend you do. The Dreamweaver's Contempt Shield is a fire shield that comes with a once per battle skill that pays 385 SP at level 150 to heal 130 MP per turn and reduce fire damage by 35% for 3 turns. So it's a little bit like Cozy Farzad Mogloo, but it gives you mana regen and it's only once per battle. So that's it for 2020. I really recommend the Scathing Dreamweaver armor if you're a spellcaster, and the Scathing Dreamseer pet if you're into SP regen, because it is effective, and it's not based off damage dealt, so you can use it against any element monster. Frostvale 2021 is the Knights and the Rat King quest. So the first quest is the Curse of the Rat Queen. The notable monsters are the Rat Queen boss. She has freedom, a relatively low damage cap, and a Fire Earth SP attack that reduces your healing by half. The reward for that quest is a Favor Repaid, which is a water mist that gives strength, dex, and int, and the Mastercraft bonus goes to letting you switch between SP or MP for upkeep. It's okay for traditional hybrids, but who's playing a traditional hybrid in 2023? No flame if you are, though. You can still subscribe to my channel if you know what I'm saying. I'm just playing. Quest 2, Would You Kindly? There's a boss, and it's the Kraken Nut boss, and it has damage caps and a 175% Earth backlash. So you're going to want to be in an Earth armor, and you're going to want to be a little bit careful if you nuke it. The rewards for this, though, are quite dope. There's the Fey Wanderer pet, which probably needs no introduction, but basically it's a water pet that can eat panic to heal you a ton of mana and SP. Very, very strong, very, very potent. I would recommend 100%. There's also the Fey Invocation spell, which is a ranged SP skill that normally deals damage, but if you have panic on the foe, it turns into a healing spell based off enemy water resistance, and it does plus 10 damage, plus 10% damage. If it's working against a high water resistance monster with panic, it's one of the strongest healing spells in the game, and it also has a cheaper SP cost than a lot of old healing spells. So it's very potent for those purposes if you're using them for that. It doesn't eat the panic, it just triggers off the panic. The last quest is the gift delivery, and there's the Fey Touched Knight's Regalia, which is a water armor that pays some stuff for pays some defenses for an initiative bonus, and it has 3 skills: a weapon-based ranged-only skill with a panic trigger, a toggle that provides spell damage based off strength, and a toggle that gives status potency based off dex. So it's meant for traditional hybrids, or dex players can also use it pretty well. There's also the Water Shield, which is the Fey Touched Nightly Ward, which provides some status resistance up to 7.5 or 8.25 if it's overcapped. So that's it for Frostvale 2021. So this year's Frostvale, we finally made it, or maybe you just skipped to the timestamp. For me, it's been a lot of monologuing, but you know me, I love that. So Frostvale 2022, No Place Like Home. The first quest, Home Sweet Home, a little bit of a reference to the Frostvale 2020, which is Welcome Home for the first quest. And it follows up on the Nightmarish saga. But the notable monster in this quest is the Sugar Rush Bandit Gang, which is a monster that has 20 reinforcements and deals relatively high energy damage. So healing loops and an energy defensive misc are recommended. I do have a linked video guide if you're interested on the Google Doc. This quest gives the misc, which is the Order of Terror and Horror. And it gives ice resistance, 12.5% increased healing, and 20 panic potence. Very useful for many builds and anything panic. Second quest is Sweet Dreams, and the only boss monster is a very simple ice boss that just attacks for ice damage and has a damage cap, so nothing to worry about. Rising Nightmare is the spell reward, and it's an ice healing spell that scales off strength or dex and enemy ice resistance, so it's best against fire monsters, weak against ice monsters. It also eats panic for up to triple damage. When I say triple damage, oh hello cat, triple damage, like I say, it counts as much as 3 healing spells if you eat enough panic. So it's stupid strong. Like I just want to say this, it's dumb strong if you use panic. Okay, moving on. Nightmare Squire is the ice pet. It deals half damage and spends the other half on a barrier, and it's stronger if the foe is panicked, and the barrier strength is based partially off of attack accuracy, so it's weaker if hits miss. The final quest is the gift delivery, and the notable monsters are the hardbake oven, and the boss has a couple mechanics, but basically it regens excessively unless it's stunned, and stuns don't stun the boss, but they stop SP regen, so it can't use its skill. I have a video guide linked in the Google Doc as well. The rewards are the Nightmare Plate, which is an ice armor with a toggle between FD and FO, and it can give celerity for using the Ellie locked attack in FO, or the ice type spell skill in FD. And the celerity is cheaper if you have a barrier or the foe is panicked. The Nightmare Omen is an endurance-based clone of the Haunted Dragonlord shield, so usable once per turn and gives a barrier. Very strong armor. It's basically like an Ice H series, but without the weapon lock to melee, or maybe it is locked to melee or ranged. I can't remember. But either way, it's a very good armor. It's meant for warriors and rangers, but it's very good. And the shield, whatever, it's okay. It's good for all builds because you can use it with just endurance and without a main stat, but it's okay. Is what it is. So that's pretty much it for Frostvale 2022, and the next parts of the video are going to be the Decorate the Tree quest and the Limited Time Shop. I'm going to just go into those, and that'll be it. And I'll probably have a timestamp for this because I might not have enough time to say all of them in the clips that are recorded of going through the shop. So just check the timestamps in the video if you want to hear about every single item. So the Decorate the Tree quest has a bunch of random items. There's the Cold Sore, which is an ice wand that gives burn resistance, the Rock Thrower, an earth wand that gives daze resistance, Wraith Wrath, a melee earth sword with a compressed skill that deals damage and entangles the foe, the Frigid Lance, which is an ice ranged lance, the Coal Maul, which is an earth mace lance with a skill that inflicts unlucky, a click skill. There's the Spearmint, a ranged spear, Shivsicle, an ice melee dagger. Spearmint is also ice. The Festive Mallet, a 0-proc light melee hammer. The Snowflake Wand, a ice magic wand. The Snownick Screwdriver, like Sonic Screwdriver. An ice melee magic swapping sword. There's the Mighty Slay Laugh. I'm not going to Slay Alaya. I don't know how to say that word. It's like Shilagaya, but I'm probably not saying it right. And there's Mighty and Mystic versions and a ranged version, and they're just 10 proc weapons with a 1.5 times Lucky Strike rate. There's the Thunder Splitter, which is an energy axe or ranged spear or magic staff that can do pure damage with a burn or an auto hit mode. And there's the Dreamweaver's Scourge, Reach, and Insight, which are 100 proc melee, ranged, and magic weapons that heal SP for melee and ranged, and mana for the magic version. There's the Fey Touched Knight's Retort, which is a water mace, lance, or staff that pays 15% damage to inflict a hit count based panic. So if you use it with Trontosaurus Basket Breath, it'll hit it 8 times. If you use it with a normal armor attack, it'll hit like 2 times. So that's something to keep in mind. It inflicts panic based off that. The Nightmare Piercer is a 0 proc ice sword, spear, or ranged 100 proc, or staff. The spear toggles. You can click it to be 100 proc or 0 proc. They pay 15% damage to inflict roughly a 15% panic based on ice resistance at a minus 10 save. Not modified by a hit count like the other weapon, only modified by accuracy. There's the Broken Ornament, which is an ice shield that deals a tiny bit of damage on block or on not block, on being hit. It's terrible. It's like 2005 backlash. It's awful. And then there's the Frostbite spell, which is an ice spell that pays almost half its damage to inflict an ice burn, and it scales up to level 150. It's actually quite good, very underrated for any burn builds. I recommend it for FD Neko mages and other people. And then the limited time shop this year, there was the Frosty/Energized Festive Light of Zealotry, the melee magic axes that toggle to increase damage and increase damage taken. They cost tokens. There's the Festive Light of Destiny, which is a melee magic toggle axe that can break you out of stuns and also costs tokens. That one's trash, don't get it. The Rain Dragon Rider is a fully defensive ice armor with a Fireburn skill at a minus 20 save. It's really weak because it has minimal Elecomp, if any. And the Regal Rain Dragon Rider is the real gem of this shop, and it's a new fully defensive ice armor with a blind skill at a minus 20 save, and a toggle that increases pet and guest bonus to hit and damage. And the damage is by 20%, and the bonus to hit is by 8.5. The shop also has all the Frostvale paintings, as well as a variety of Frostvale-related faces. So that is pretty much it for the whole Frostvale event. If you're interested in a specific quest, go check out the timestamps and watch me play it through. If you have questions about any of the items, let me know. If you think you have corrections to what I said or to the Google Doc that I've linked in the description, do leave a comment down below. I hope this is a useful resource. And all this information is up to date as of 2022 or beginning of 2023. And so thank you guys for watching. I really hope this is useful. Let me know what you think and have a great day. Spread some peace and love. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.